Ladies and gentlemen, welcome into the Quick Cut Sports Network. We're coming to you live on this beautiful Saturday in Lakewood, Florida, from Bryant Stadium for the 5A SSAA, the Sunshine State Athletic Association Championship game featuring Mount Dora Christian Academy and St. Stephen's Episcopal. Got a championship game now, championship game at 7 p.m. As you see, St. Stephen's make their way onto the field. I'm Bobby Allen. You can call me B.A. I'm joined tonight by Conrad Bolch. And Conrad, it is a pleasure to be on air with you tonight, sir.
You too,
Today.
B.A. Oh, of course.
Yeah, you did that earlier. I'm going to do it all day because it's a 2 o'clock game. I'm going to be saying night all day. Conrad, we've got a good one. Mount Dora Christian has been here before. They're no stranger to a championship game. St. Stephen's Episcopal, they passed the eye test, that's for sure. They are big, they are physical, and they look extremely athletic across the board. What do you think is going to happen this afternoon?
Well, B.A., the one thing I'll have to say is both of these teams, as you said, they're experienced in this game. St. Stephen's, this is their second straight trip in the tenure of their head coach. They won it last year pretty handedly against, I believe it was Legacy Charter, 47-7. And Mount Dora Christian, they've been here. This is their 4th straight year. Almost won it 2 years ago. But it's one of those things. It's great to have the experience, but for St. Stephen's, it's even better to have a win under your belt.
Yeah.
But it's going to be interesting because it's one of those things where it doesn't matter what you've done all season or how much prep you've done or how much film you watched. Until that kickoff is kicked or those lights turn on, as we'll see tonight at the 7 o'clock game, you don't know. And it's either going to be, well, I don't know what it's going to be. But
I know.
The one thing I will say, these two, no matter what your record is, Mount Dora being 5-5 and St. Stephen's being 8-2, it's going to be a great match tonight.
It really is. And St. Stephen's Episcopal will call for the fair catch. It is dropped, but covered up by the Falcons, and that's where they'll have it. First and 10 on the kick by number 17, Schaefer, for Mount Dora Christian. And now we will see the quarterback, the athlete, number 2, Evan Brown. He's a 5'11 senior, and he has put up a pretty impressive stat line, Conrad. Not only throwing, but he is very dangerous with his legs.
He's almost like the Lamar Jackson of high school football. 1,050 yards passing, 1,281 yards rushing. I mean, what can't this guy do?
It's pretty impressive indeed. He'll have some wide receiving targets that he can throw to and that can catch the ball, no doubt. That'll be number 13, James Haley. He'll be nearest to us. And we'll see who else they line up. Looks like it's going to be Gavin Winterhalter in the slot near side, and they'll line up twins on the top of the screen. Single man in the backfield to get things started for St. Stephen's Episcopal. Brown in the gun. Motion coming right at us as Brown takes it to the left, escapes the first wave. Shifty, but he's going to get wrapped up. Bunch of black helmets on that ball right there. Good defense up front by Mount Dora Christian.
Yeah, that's what Mount Dora is going to have to do. They're going to have to swarm to the football. You saw Brown make a man miss, make several men miss, but you saw 7, 8, 9 different Bulldogs there on the ball. All, again, swarm of white jerseys. Again, Mount Dora in the white and blue, and St. Stephen's in the green and gold. So that's what Mount Dora is going to have to do. They're going to have to contain that best player on that St. Stephen's side.
Yeah, really good initial pressure there up front to kind of make Brown uncomfortable. Here he is on the keeper, straight forward, nothing there. No gain. Well, they're going to give him 1, so he gains 1 of the 3 lost back, and that's going to bring up 3rd down at about 12 yards. So really good pressure up front. You know, so far so good defensively. That's exactly how you want to come out and start on this first drive when you know you've got somebody behind center in Brown that can – he's a home run hitter every time he touches the football.
Oh, 100%. And this Falcons team, they average 311 yards a game. 206 of them are on the ground, so they're going to have to stop the run today.
This time, St. Stephen's going to line up trips to the near side. Single receiver top of your screen as Brown stands in the shotgun once more. Whistles blow momentarily. A little discussion on the far sideline as Mount Dora looks to try to make a substitution. They're going to send that was Taylor Klein. They're going to send him back to the sideline. Here's Brown coming right at us. Fires over the middle. And listen, had Winterhalter not had a hand on that football, that could have easily been an interception.
Oh, 100%.
Easily, that ball was thrown
100%.
well behind him.
Yeah, and it's only the opening drive, but I like what I'm seeing from Mount Dora. They're containing that run because you can tell St. Stephen's is a run-first offense, and there's nothing wrong with that if you're good at it. But like I said, Mount Dora is going to have to contain that run to equalize what St. Stephen's has done all year long. St. Stephen's is coming in winning 5 straight, but Mount Dora is on a 3-game winning streak as well.
Yeah, both of these teams have had late season success. Here's a high punt, caught by the wind a little bit, checks up midair, takes a slight Falcon bounce inside the 35 down to the 34, and that's where Mount Dora Christian will have it on their first possession of the football game. As we saw their defense answer the call on the first possession, we'll see what the offense is capable of. And again, Conrad, this is an offense that is certainly capable, having rattled off 5 straight to end the season.
Yeah, 100%. And I think, it's one of those things, whichever game you play, the first couple series in a football game, it's what I like to call the feel-out part. Yeah. Because, again, all the film, everything you practice for, well, when it's real and it's live, that's when you start having to shake the rust off.
It's impossible to imitate another player.
Exactly.
Now Dora's going to line up. Single receiver, top of the screen. Couple of wideouts near side. Closest to us will be number 5, Taylor Klein. And quarterback, number 2, Nathan Roach. 6'1", 170. He is a junior. Listen, both of these teams have athletes. They have weapons at the positions, and it's really going to come down to the physicality in the trenches in this game. I feel like I want to see that size difference at play because it looks like there's an advantage to St. Stephen's as Matt Carr will try to bring it near side. He cannot get the edge. Great defense there from St. Stephen's number 50, Austin Varga.
Yeah, Matt Carr is he's the second leading rusher on this Mount Dora offense. He's ran for 380 yards, averaging about just under 6 yards a carry. He's got 4 rushing touchdowns as well. So look for him and Klein in that backfield to try and establish that run on the Bulldog side.
And I tell you, I think if I had to come up with a word to describe Nathan Roach, he's not the same quarterback you're going to see on the other side of the football with Brown. But he's just one of those guys that shows up every day, goes to work, you know exactly what you're going to get, and he produces. What more can you really ask for?
Yeah, consistency is what you want to look for in something like that.
Roach able to make it to the near side, skips across the 40, ridden out of bounds at the 42. That'll bring up a very manageable 3rd and 3 for the Bulldogs of Mount Dora.
Yeah, and the biggest thing we're seeing here from Mount Dora in comparison to the Falcons is they gained 1 yard in their first two runs, but Mount Dora, they've cut it to within that 3rd and 3, 3rd and 4. And if they can do that and bleed that clock throughout the game, that keeps that high-powered Falcon offense on the sideline.
That's absolutely right. 9:31 here in the first quarter, no score. Mount Dora Christian with the football. It's going to be a direct snap to Klein. Cannot find the edge, and standing up tall for St. Stephen's Episcopal, Cameron Brewer, the 5'10 junior.
Yeah, I can't even get mad at that running play.
No.
Again, Taylor Klein, 551 rushing yards coming into this game. He's also listed as a quarterback and a wide receiver and a free safety. So this man, he's like a Swiss Army knife of the offense. But
yeah, one of those guys in a post-game interview, you go and say, what position's your favorite? And he just goes,
yes.
I don't know. He's just a football player,
Looks like Mount Dora is going to go for it here on 4th and about 3.
Big call here to start the football game on the first drive. Single receiver split each way. Schaefer comes in, that's Carr coming in motion from right to left. Roach looks to the sideline, and that is going to attract some whistles and a penalty against Mount Dora Christian, and that's going to change their plans.
Yeah, I think they were going to hopefully try and draw him off sides there. I'm not sure what they were going to do. I didn't hear a cadence or
I didn't either.
Any hut or any of that. So who knows? Maybe they wanted to give their punter some more room to work to try and pin this deep because, it is still the first quarter, but you want to win the field position game as well.
Sure. Sometimes you just have success when you try to pull somebody offside. Sometimes the defense does not bite, stands tall, and that's what St. Stephen's did just then, and that'll force a punt. It'll be Connor Caffey to send it away with a big right leg. And it is a big one, end over end. Hits the ground at the 25, and look what a bounce for Mount Dora Christian. Pinned by Klein inside the 15. Excellent punt. by Connor Caffey. Play of the game thus far, Conrad.
Oh, for sure, BA. And I think that extra 5 yards, I think, took that pressure off of him so he didn't have to worry about sky kicking it.
Yep.
Because when you sky kick it, you get the advantage of having a great hang time, but not as many yards. But, I mean, having them pinned inside their 15, it's a whole lot different to have to drive 76 yards or 86 yards. I had to do math in my head. That was almost a bad idea. But, 86 yards versus maybe like 66 yards,
sure.
Big difference.
Sure, huge difference. And now we'll see St. Stephen's on their second possession of the football game. It'll be Brown in the shotgun. This time he just overthrows his intended target on the near side, looking for Winterhalter. That seems to be his favorite target, at least in this first quarter of this matchup. And that time he just sailed it a little bit. Brown did. And they'll be joined in the backfield by number 3, Julian Brown.
Yeah, they had the wide open man set for that screen, but he just threw it too high. And I mean, Winterhalter comes in. He's got the yardage and he's got the touchdowns to his name, but just missed him there.
Trips to the near side, single receiver top of your screen. Brown in the backfield with Brown, and this time it's going to be Evan Brown taking it up the far sideline. First down and more. Moving the chains first. Big play from scrimmage in terms of getting the crowd involved and trying to gather some momentum.
Yeah, and it looked like that ball was about to go over the top of his shoulder, had to grab it and pull it back in. But that's the thing Mount Dora is going to have to watch out for is Evan Brown, is to keep him contained and not let him, as they said in Denver last year, cook. Because once he starts, feeling it and getting that momentum, it's going to be hard to stop that man.
They'll bring Julian Brown out. And this time they're going to try to put it on the ground. Loose ball, and that's going to be picked up by Mount Dora Christian. First turnover of the football game. It is a huge one, and that'll be 1st and 10. Bulldogs at the 29-yard line of the Falcons.
Yeah, the Mount Dora Bulldog defense was right there to swipe at that football, and that's what I'm talking about. You pin them deep within the 15-yard line, and then you just gave up a first down, but you have to have that quick forget the play. Yeah, we gave up a first down, got to switch, next play, and that's exactly what they did, and they're going to have the ball on the 29-yard line.
Big defensive stop there. I'd rather be lucky than good, as they say.
100%.
So Mount Dora will have it again, 29 yards away from the end zone in the first score of the football game. Here's Roach looking to throw. Pressure comes, goes far side, has a man caught, pushed out of bounds. Gain of 4, maybe 5. We'll give him 4. It'll be 2nd and 6.
And funny enough, that's the first completed pass of the game. Just under 4 minutes gone here in this first quarter, but I mean, you kind of felt the momentum starting to shift over towards that Falcons offense. But as soon as they got that fumble recovery, Mount Dora, they can take control here and really get that again, shake the rust off of their offense and start building it here in this first half.
Take some of those nerves off and settle into what you know you're good at. Here's Klein. He'll line up in the backfield with Roach. As they'll send 2 receivers near side. Fake. Roach on the keeper. Crosses the 25. Fights his way forward. Forward progress will give him the 22. It'll be 3rd and short. Very manageable 3rd down here for Mount Dora Christian.
And that's the same thing we saw in the last drive. They got it within that 3rd and 3, 3rd and 4 range. And that's another thing. You're going to have to want to get these manageable 3rd downs throughout the game because St. Stephen's, they got a good offense, but they've also got a good defense. And if you can wear that defense down, you'll give yourself a chance.
And again, you mentioned earlier clock. We're down under 7 minutes to play here in the first. And both possessions for Mount Dora, we've seen them eat at clock a little bit. And that's the way you draw it up. Let's see what Roach does here. He's got Carr in motion. It's going to be a reverse to Klein running the right side. Gets the edge at the 10, 5, touchdown Bulldogs. We're going to check that. They're going to say he stepped out of bounds. Looks like about the 8-yard line. Unfortunate because Taylor Klein had an unimpeded path to the end zone. It will be a first down for Mount Dora Christian. But man, what a run by Taylor Klein. Unfortunately, it's coming back.
Yeah, and luckily there was no flag on the field.
Yeah.
But, again, very important to get that first down, the first down of the game. And Looks like we're going to have an official timeout here. But
take a little very important water break. We'll take an audio break. And just let the camera roll. Take a pause for a minute. We'll be back with you in just a moment. You're watching the Quick Cut Sports Network.
As our players take their first water break of the game, there is water available at the front gate. And we have our food trucks in the end zone, Kona Ice, to cool you down as you watch this great game of football today in the end zone behind the scoreboard.
And welcome back here to the Quick Cut Sports Network. Coming to you live from Bryant Stadium here in beautiful Lakeland on this championship Saturday for the Sunshine State Athletic Association. No score. First quarter, 6.5 minutes to play. BA alongside Connor Volch, and now Dora Christian has it first and goal from the 8. They've had success on the ground. Here's Roark. Fake to Klein, give to Carr. Right side this time. The Falcons say no. Great defense there.
it looked like it was almost sort of a busted play a little bit. Matt Carr had to try to make something out of nothing, to quote the famous cliche, but luckily they didn't lose any yardage there. But again, if you're Mount Dora, you have to get into the end zone. They've done a good job over the last 3 games. Against Interlaken, they only allowed 1 touchdown. Of course, they advanced against Impact Christian due to forfeit. But again, that Bishop Snyder game, back in the semis, they didn't give up a touchdown at all. So they have to score, get 6 here to establish that pressure.
Here's Roark, lines up in the shotgun. He'll send Klein out to the near side, gives it to Klein, has it at the 5, and he walks in. Touchdown, Bulldogs. Mount Dora with an early 6-0 lead. 8-yard pass play from Roark to Klein puts the Bulldogs on the board. Extra point pending.
It's the 23rd, wrong stat. That is the 10th total touchdown for Klein this year. He has 9 of them rushing on the receiving end. Wow, if I could learn to read, BA, that would be amazing. I'm just kidding. But Klein, that is his 14th touchdown of the year. He had 9 of them on the ground. That's his 5th one through the air, and that's a huge touchdown for Mount Dora here still in this first quarter.
Now we will see Dean Schaefer on to attempt the extra point to put Mount Dora up 7-0. Snap good. Hold down, kick is away, and it is good. Our score, Mount Dora Christian 7, St. Stephen's Episcopal 0, right here on the Quick Cut Sports Network. We want to take this opportunity to thank the SSAA, the Sunshine State Athletic Association, is Florida's premier independent athletic conference, and these events aren't possible without the sponsors that make it possible. NGU Sports Lighting, the title sponsor for the championship games. Orlando Health, Body Armor, Polk County Tourism and Sports Marketing. BSN, Under Armour, S2 Path Digital Ticketing, AstroTurf, Vertical Raise Fundraising, Gipper Media, Max Preps, RSA Consulting Group, and Mama Razi Studios. We appreciate the SSAA allowing us to come and broadcast these championship games. We're going to be back with you again for the second game of the day at 7 p.m. Conrad, it's just a great day of football. Weather's beautiful. I don't know if I'd rather be anywhere else on a Saturday.
Oh, 100%. I mean, I used to live in North Dakota for the past 5 years before I moved down here to start at the Dan Patrick School of Sportscasting at Full Sail. And, you know, I don't think I've ever had a time in my life where I didn't have to wear sweats in November, December. And one thing I will say, it's nice not having to shovel snow this time of the year.
Though? The last full winter we lived up north as well, there were 63 days under 20 degrees. And my wife and I said, that'll do it. That'll do it.
That's like over 2 months.
That was awful. And, you know, it is what it is. Here's Schaefer, short kick again. And St. Stephen's takes no chances with 5:36 to play here in the first and trailing 7-0. We'll see what Evan Brown and the Falcons offense can get going, and really as prolific and as dangerous as an offense and a player as Evan Brown is. tip of the cap to Mount Dora Christian's defense, because so far they really haven't let him do anything dangerous outside of one first down run on the far side, gain of maybe 13, 14 yards.
100%. This Falcons team, on average, outgains Mount Dora by almost 80 yards a game, but Mount Dora in full control right now.
Absolutely. And again, we'll talk about this a little more as we move forward, but we talked to Mount Dora's coach earlier before the game, and we'll get into that, why they're so ready for this, as here is Brown right up the middle, and he goes across midfield into Bulldog territory all the way inside the 40 to the 38. He is the quarterback, but he is an athlete as a flag lays just inside the near side.
Looks like we're going to have a sideline warning on the Falcons side. There will be a penalty here.
St. Stevens gets their first sideline warning of the game.
Yeah, just looks like it's just a warning. So, great run by Evan Brown, and what an answer when you're trailing and you want to make a quick response and get momentum back on your side. That's certainly one way to do it. Listen, Mount Dora is fortunate. Had he not got tripped up as he crossed the 40 on his side of the field, he probably would have gone a lot farther.
Oh, 100%. And, I mean, he's got over 1,200 yards rushing on the season for a reason. He's got a great O-line in front of him, but 100% doesn't slip up a little bit, he might have scored 6.
Yeah, when you look down that offensive line for St. Stevens, you're looking at guys that are anywhere from 6'3" to 6'6", 6'7", that are built well and athletic to boot.
100%.
A lot of those guys look like mirror images of each other at that 6'4", 6'5" mark, and that's just impressive.
Yeah, their smallest offensive lineman is Austin Varga, number 50. He's 195 pounds. All the rest of them are over 200.
There you go. Here's Brown again, goes near side, fights his way across the 30, still on his feet at the 25, and finally wrestled down at about the 24-yard line. Another tough run to lead the Falcons back down the field.
Yeah, we started to see him get established in that last drive a little bit on that first down run before that fumble, and that's what I was saying with Mount Dora. You're not going to get too many opportunities to have a drive start at the 29-yard line. So they're very fortunate they cashed in on that touchdown, because, this might end up turning into an offensive war or offensive shootout.
Absolutely. It has. Listen, and then we talked about, we just really didn't know what was going to happen. And that lends itself to what you just said. This could be a 55-50 game, or it could be a 6-0 or 7-0 game.
Yep.
Literally. Good defense again by the Bulldogs. First contact for Mount Dora made in there by Jordan Graves, senior defensive lineman, another leader and another player who has been in this very game the last 4 years.
Yeah, and, Mount Dora, they've got the experience, as does St. Stevens in a championship game. The only difference is Mount Dora, they have not brought home that coveted trophy. And, it's you see teams like that. There's the Buffalo Bills of the 90s, and there's a team in North Dakota called Cavalier. They went to 4 straight and lost all of them. And
I saw that on a special.
It's so hard.
Cavalier. Yeah.
It's so hard to get there, but to get back again is even harder.
Some of the best football in the country up in North Dakota, by golly.
Yeah.
I think those games between North Dakota State, North Dakota, and South Dakota, I love it.
Delay a game on the Falcons.
Which one of them plays in the indoor stadium? Is that North Dakota or North Dakota State? The Bison, right?
North Dakota State, and funny enough, they're pronounced the Bison.
Bison.
I don't know why, but that's just what they call them.
You know what's funny is, obviously you're from there, so you knew that, but it's awesome because as sports broadcasters tend to be really full of completely useless knowledge, but every once in a while it comes in handy.
Exactly.
Like that right there, Bison. That is very interesting. Okay, you heard it here first, folks. Here's Evan Brown, looks over the middle and has it batted out of his hand. Loose on the turf, and that's going to be picked up by Mount Dora. Xavier Dalton up the far sideline at the 10-5. Touchdown, Bulldog.
And there are no flags.
What a defensive play, an individual defensive play to knock the ball out of the hands of Brown. Presence of mind to pick it up. Gone. What a play.
I'm just impressed he didn't trip or fall down. That's Xavier Dalton, senior, standing at 6'4", 205 pounds. And, I mean, this Mount Dora roster, you would never have guessed they came into this game 5-5 on the season. Again,
no.
We talked to their head coach. They play a lot of higher A teams throughout the state of Florida. And, he said I asked him straight up, I said, did that help you? Does that help you prepare for games like this? And he said, absolutely.
Yeah, he made it a point to point out that, which I thought was a great lead-in by you on that interview, but he said that, when you really break it down like this, it makes sense. He's playing 40 kids, and he's playing teams that have an 80-man roster.
Yeah.
That's tough. I don't care where you are or how good you are. That's tough. Extra point, up and through by Schaefer. And that'll put Mount Dora on the board once more, and they lead it 14-0. And this right here, folks, is the most important possession of the football game for St. Stephen's Episcopal. Two-score game in any sport is the most dangerous lead. I don't care if it's soccer, hockey, football, I don't care. A two-score lead is the most dangerous because it is so easy. If they score here, all of a sudden, you think, oh, no, we should have gone up more for insurance purposes. I'm telling you, this is huge right here for St. Stephen's.
Yeah, 100%. And two, when you're a team that's in, like you just said, you don't want to get too complacent, and you want to play the same way you did to get there.
Yep.
I mean, another great storyline. Perfect example. The Atlanta Falcons up 28-3 against the Patriots. Yep. They got complacent.
Everybody thought Matty Ice was going to
take
it home.
You you score one more touchdown in that game, maybe two. I'll give you 10 points. That game's done.
Yep.
But they got complacent. They gave Brady and them a chance, and that's why they won. They lost that Super Bowl.
So we'll see where Schaefer elects to kick this one. He's elected to go short the last couple of kickoffs. St. Stephen's will send James Haley alongside Caleb Bosick back deep to receive. They'll stand about the 15. And again, it's going to be a short kick. One bounce, fielded, and taking the knee at the 37. And look, I'm sure St. Stephen's is saying, okay, you can do that every time. We'll just kneel it, and we have really good field position about the 40 every time.
Yeah, I don't blame them for doing that. They've got Haley and Bosick, and Bosick's got close to 400 yards receiving on the season. And, guys like that, they have, especially in a team that's a run-heavy team, you don't want guys with speed like that to get in the open space. So I think for Mount Dora, it's like we'll sacrifice the yardage, but so that way you're not getting those free extra 20 to 30 yards.
And these matchups we're seeing, particularly outside right here on this very play, as Evan Brown will try to get the edge on the near side, fights off a would-be tackler, and gets about 3 on the carry, makes it 2nd and 7. But we talked about Bosick and Haley on the kick return and how dangerous wide receivers they are. Well, listen, Conrad, we haven't seen them be a part of this offense yet.
No.
So I'm really anxious to see whether that is just really good coverage on the outside by Mount Dora Christian, or are they just not extending the playbook like they should, because we've seen them go to Winterhalter, but not to Bosick and Haley, which are great receivers and who have produced amazingly this season.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Sometimes when you get in positions like this, you rely on what works, and so far the run game has worked for them today.
Good defense here by Mount Dora Christian, and a flag comes in. They're going to say it was a little extracurricular activity here on the near side, as Evan Brown was forced out of play after a gain of about a yard. Yeah, a little late hit maybe.
Yeah, Connor Calfee had his arms up in the air saying, what did I do? Because from our vantage point, it looked like it was just a continuation out of bounds. They were, all 3 men, part of the play, were falling down. So I can see why he would be a little confused by that. But, hey, that's why we're up here in the booth and they're referees down there, because there's things they see that we don't see. And it's crazy when, because I played college football before, and you sit on that sideline, you see so many little things that you wouldn't see from high up in the air.
Yep.
And,
And you would think this would be the best vantage point, but it is just, hey, I'm a big proponent of the officials. My dad was a longtime NCAA basketball official. This one is going to go to Julian Brown. He lowers his shoulder, fights his way to the 40. Actually, they're going to mark him at the 39, gain of 1. But we are in the midst of an official crisis because we need young officials badly. I know some folks who are trying to organize some programs to be implemented into local school systems as a way to show kids that if you like sport, here's another career opportunity. Some of these guys make outstanding money.
Yeah, I think the thing that would be hard for me is just getting probably yelled at by players and even by fans.
Here's Brown straight ahead. Spin at the 35 and falls forward down to the 32. Good move. Little turbo B button there for Evan Brown. He's shifty for sure. Let's see. Yep, that moves the sticks. First down for St. Stephen's Episcopal with 2:24 to play.
Yeah, St. Stephen's got in this position last drive and had that fumble. Good. We've seen good relentless pursuit from the Bulldog defensive line, getting to Brown, but again, it's one of those things where it's going to eventually, how long is that going to last?
Interestingly enough, I don't see Xavier Dalton on the field defensively, the one player who had that outstanding strip, pick, and score. And here we have some maybe a little extra effort as the St. Stephen's Episcopal fans show their displeasure for those extra little chippy shots. I really didn't see anything that I didn't consider football, but we'll see how that continues.
It was funny from my vantage point. You kind of see that little bit of a shove at the end, and from at least from my opinion, that first one that was a penalty. There was less things extracurricular there than there was there. So. Maybe it's one of those. It's like, okay, well, we gave you this one.
Yeah.
So.
Or sometimes they have to make that call in order to shut it down.
Exactly.
Be like, guys, this is enough. We're going to start throwing flags if y'all don't cut it out.
Yeah, and the last thing you want on defense is to get, a defensive penalty, because that is something you get a team maybe 3rd and 2 or 4th and 1. They're off the field, and just kidding, it's a new set of downs.
Yeah. Two receivers near side, single receiver top of your screen as Brown in the shotgun takes a direct snap, runs forward, gets across the 20. That's going to be enough to move the chains inside the red zone, and that'll be 1st and 10 at the 19 for the Falcons. And it's been the the Nathan Brown, Evan Brown, if I can read. Folks, this is weird for us. It's 3 o'clock in the afternoon. We're not used to this.
It's okay. I feel like I'm on an episode of Tyler Perry's Meet the Browns.
Yeah, I'm telling you. Evan Brown, it has been his drive for sure. And you said earlier something, do what works and, run it until they stop you. This time, Julian Brown's going to be standing in the backfield with Evan. It's going to be a handoff. Julian Brown coming to the near side. Good defense. Hold him to a minimal gain on the play, maybe 1.5 yards at best.
Seth Roach with the initial contact to slow him down. And the one thing that Mount Dora has done well is they haven't lost contain, at least on the right and left sides. In that middle is where Evan Brown has had, and even Julian Brown has had that success because there's been those wide open holes. But when it comes to contain, Mount Dora has had it, at least in this first quarter.
And now we see Xavier Dalton lines up at his defensive end position on the near side. Keep an eye on him. As this goes to Julian Brown straight ahead, gets a couple of yards down to about the 12. That'll bring up 3rd down at about 3. Big 3rd down here, Conrad, that is for sure.
We'll see if they snap the ball before the end of the quarter.
17.9, and the clock continues to tick down, and they're not going to snap it. And that'll take us to the end of the first quarter here in this 5A championship contest.
It looks like they might snap it.
Oh, they are going to snap it. Well, what about that? I don't know that they're going to have time. And they're not.
No, they got
it off. Evan Brown goes nowhere as Xavier Dalton comes up big with a stop. I'm surprised they even attempted to get that snap off, to be honest with you. That could have been dangerous, but that'll take us to the end of the first quarter. We've got a good one, folks. Mount Dora Christian holds a 14-0 lead, but you just simply can't count out St. Stephen's Episcopal. We'll be back with more right here on the Quick Cut Sports Network. And we'll go back into the Quick Cut Sports Network on this overcast Saturday. Beautiful day for championship football. This is the 5A championship game for the Sunshine State Athletic Association, Florida's premier independent athletic conference. I'm BA alongside Conrad Volch, and we appreciate you tuning in for this one. First game of 2. We got a good one coming up at 7 p.m. right here on the Quick Cut Sports Network, as we have a 4th and 3 for St. Stephen's Episcopal. They trail it 14-0. You got to kind of go with what works. You got to go with Evan Brown, right, Conrad?
Exactly, and this is going to be a big play for that Mount Dora defense. Can they get off the field and prevent a potential score here by the Falcons?
First play of the second quarter. Here's Evan Brown in the shotgun. He will have Julian Brown to his left. 2 receivers lined up near side. Single receiver top of your screen will be James Haley. And here's Evan Brown, runs straight forward. Mount Dora Christian reads it well, stops him at the 11. They're going to give him the 10.
No, they didn't get it.
No, they didn't get it. They're going to be a yard short at best, and that's going to be a turnover on downs. That's a huge stop for Mount Dora Christian.
And the biggest play we saw that was kind of confusing a little bit was when they were halfway off the field with about probably 16, 18 seconds left, and then with about 9, they just turned around and sprinted. It was almost like a quick snap to try to get the defense napping, if you will, and they weren't fooled at all.
They never even attempted to leave the field. Like, you kind of saw St. Stephen's come to the sideline. Mount Dora just was like, hang on, let's see what happens.
Yeah.
Their defense has been on point, let me tell you. They have absolutely really put the pressure on Evan Brown, and really, especially in tight situations like goal line stands or 4th down, they've really came and answered the call.
100%.
Now we'll see their offense take the field again, nursing a 2-score lead. Here's Carr straight forward. Gets it across the 15 up to about the 17, maybe the 18-yard line. And they're perfectly content just matriculating the ball into the field. Tick-tock, clock.
100%. And between Carr and Klein, they're very dangerous from the rushing position. But we saw Klein earlier, had that one where it looked like a touchdown, stepped out at the 8. No, doesn't matter. 2 plays later, go to him on the other side, runs in for a touchdown. So they've got people, and they're doing well at spreading it all over the field.
Here's a handoff. Klein coming to the near side, gets across the 20, escapes pressure at the 25, cuts it back up the middle. Finally brought down at the 35. Listen, Taylor Klein is a hard young man to bring down.
As I said, he came into this game over 550 yards rushing, 9 rushing touchdowns. Now he's got 5 receiving touchdowns. I mean, this guy, he's like somebody when you're playing Madden and you buy that set of gold or silver cards. You're like, I want that guy, and I'm going to be psyched if I get him, because usually those are random draws.
He is a good-looking player, physically well put together. He's very shifty. When he was wrapped up there for a second, dead to rights for all intents and purposes, and he was able to escape it and then do it again 5 yards later.
Yeah, Jackson Reif held on for dear life there for St. Stephen's Episcopal, because that was if he got free, that was a touchdown.
This time, St. Stephen's saw the handoff go to Klein, and they just had numbers on the football that time. Gain of about a yard.
And Mount Dora is still doing a good job. I mean, they were backed up within the 12-yard line, and they're getting chunk plays, and more importantly, as I said in that first quarter, they're bleeding the clock. And the more time you have your offense on the field, that defense continues to get worn out and worn out and worn out.
Yeah, Mount Dora Christian has definitely won the battle of possession, time of possession, and they've also won the turnover battle, at least to this point. What a grab! Oh, a Sports Center top 10, ladies and gentlemen, and that's going to be a touchdown. Let's go from 65 yards out on the catch by Jaden Burgess. Oh, my goodness, what a grab.
That was what Randy Moss had done for most of his career. He mossed him.
My goodness.
I mean, there was Caleb Bosek. He did everything right.
Everything.
And the receiver just got up and caught it over the back of his helmet.
Big players make big plays, and none bigger than that right there. That's the best catch I've seen all season as a broadcaster. That was a beaut. No bigger stage to do it than the championship game here for the Sunshine State Athletic Association. Remember that, folks. It is the Sunshine State Athletic Association. They are now the premier independent athletic association in the state of Florida. Congratulations to the SSAA.
And you ready for this?
Ready.
Roach, who caught that, that's his first touchdown of the year.
That's insane. That is insane. Hold by Carr, kick is up, kick is good, and there's been a little jawing back and forth after the extra points. I'm going to keep an eye on that. I love the competitive nature of these games, but listen, 21-0, Mount Dora Christian in complete control in a game that we talked about earlier could have gone either direction, and we mean that sincerely.
Yeah,
but I think you mentioned it. I think those games against these 4A, 3A schools early on, here we are. They're used to playing really competitive teams.
Well, and it's crazy because the last 3 games of the season before they made playoffs were all losses. They lost to Tavares, 51-26, the Masters Academy, which we'll see later tonight, 41-6, and Melbourne Central Catholic, 28-8. And then they turn around against Interlochen and they win 50-7. It's like, I'm confused right now.
Yeah.
But that was a great game to go into the playoffs.
Sure.
But, I mean, their offense has just come alive. Yeah. They won 50-7. Again, they were supposed to play Impact Christian. That one got forfeited. And then they played Bishop Snyder, who was coming off a win against Orangewood Christian, 35-0. They haven't given up a touchdown since October 20th.
Yeah, that's an incredible stat. That's an incredible stat, and here they are in the championship game carrying that right on against, listen, St. Stephen's Episcopal deserves to be here, and they had an equal opportunity for them to be up 21-0 with the likes of Evan Brown and company. We'll see what happens. A lot of football left to be played, and again, we see a short kick fielded and immediately kneeled down just inside the 25 at the 24-yard line. They are perfectly content doing that. That time it was Ryan Jensen, and that'll bring the Falcons offense back out on the field. We will see Evan Brown and company once more. And Conrad, we've seen it 3 times so far in this ball game. We've seen the Falcons make the long drive down the field, and everything just stalls inside the 40.
Yes.
And again, Mount Dora, I don't know what changes for them once they get in their half of football, but defensively, once they get in their half of football, they've been locked down so far.
Yeah, the last time this St. Stephen's team lost a game was back on September 22nd against Bradenton Christian, 14-7, and they find themselves down 21-0. It's on paper, this is not even remotely the first half we would have expected.
No, not at all. Here's a flag, lays back about the 18-yard line on the carry by Evan Brown. There's a first down carry. That's going to be a holding against the Falcons. That'll back him up into a 1st and 20. Really the first big negative penalty we've seen that has really put a team with the back against the wall here. That'll put the football inside the 20.
Well, and it's already hard enough to play a football game and to execute what you're good at. But to do it from down 21-0, as you said, your back's against the wall, you're all out of whack and discombobulated because your bread and butter, which has gotten you to the 40 and down to the 12, hasn't cashed in for you.
Nothing. Yep, came up empty every time.
Still a lot of game left, though. Still a lot of game left.
As whistles blow again, they actually took it back 15 yards on the penalty, so I might have missed what it was. I thought it was a hold. I thought I heard hold.
It's like the refs will come and talk about it at the middle of the 15-yard line. Because usually a holding's 10 yards, so maybe they did it too far. I don't know. I only eat Raisin Bran cereal with milk, so maybe I'm confused.
What is it, I didn't stay at a Holiday Inn Express last night?
Uh-huh.
Is that what it is? I don't know. Okay, so they are going to back it up. They just misspotted the football.
And kudos to the refs for catching that.
Yep.
Because, I mean, you know, it's only maybe 3 or 4 yards difference, but, you know, for
you never know.
Yeah, exactly. And I'd rather them pause it and us be confused for a second and them get it right than not.
Here's Brown looking to throw this time. Fires it over the top. Oh, just barely overthrows his intended target, Caleb Bosick. One of the first times we've seen them target Bosick today. Good-looking throw, just put a little bit too much on it.
Yeah, Bosick, one of the go-to receivers in this run-heavy offense. Again, came into this game with 19 catches, 396 yards, averaging almost 21 yards per catch and 4 touchdowns. His longest one is 70, and had he caught that, it probably would have been 85. Yeah, so not a bad throw there, but just couldn't quite get open.
Yeah, I like that throw on first down. I like them doing something different. He had a chance. That's all you can ask for. Here's 2 receivers top of the screen. Single receiver near side is Bosick. Here they're looking to throw again. This time Brown's going to tuck it. Pressure comes. Brown he had no idea he was being chased down, and that's a great tackle for Mount Dora's Connor Calfee. And we have talked about him several times tonight. He has had a great first half.
And what a great way to bounce back. He got called for that penalty for unnecessary roughness after the play, but he stayed in it. That play, if he stops running, Brown probably pulls it for at least 15 yards. But he kept running, and because Brown had that little misstep, was able to grab him by that jersey and pull him down. And now you're sitting at third and about 19 yards.
Yeah, that was not what they were looking for. And you said it. That's a great individual play as St. Stephen's gets a late wide receiver on. That is Patrick Collins coming on near side. Here's Brown looking to throw across the middle. Oh, my goodness. He absolutely did not see Napoli. I'll check the pronunciation, and that is an easy pick. And Mount Dora Christian has the football again, up 21-0 with 8.5 to play in the first half.
And this is the 3rd committed turnover here by this Falcon team. And so far, Mount Dora has 14 scored points off turnovers.
Yeah,
I mean, we'll throw that as 4 technically because the one was the turnover on downs. But, between 2 fumbles lost and an interception, I mean, again, on paper, I'll be honest with you, too. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I'm something I'm not.
Yeah.
This is not the score or the potential thing that I would have seen coming into this matchup.
No, not at all. Not at all. Folks, I mean, this is a championship game. Mount Dora has flat come to play, and they've taken advantage of every situation as this run play goes for a half a yard loss or so. Yeah, huge credit. I mean, listen, Michael Napoli was in the right place. I'm going to go with Napoli. He was in the right place, and unfortunately, Evan Brown just simply never saw him.
No.
He never saw him.
Yeah, Napoli, again, 5'10 junior, weighing at 195 pounds. He's more than likely been to the last 2 state championship appearances. And, I mean, these kids on this Mount Dora team, they're hungry. It's like some of these guys, they've been to the last year 2, some of them 3 years. And it's like, look, I'm tired of going home with an L. I want to take home this trophy.
Listen, so far so great. If you're a fan of the Bulldogs, clock stops with 7:41 on the whistles. Delay of game against the Bulldogs. That'll back them up 5. Really one of minimal mistakes that they've made in this first half. It's been a great game in terms of very clean, not a lot of penalties. Only one real bad penalty, if you will. That was the 10-yard hold against St. Stephen's on that last drive. But tip the cap. They came to play. Mount Dora Christian came to play, folks. Here's Roach, in the shotgun, looks to throw, has a man near side. Catch made by Seth Roach. I would imagine that is a brother duo. Gets him to the 22. Nice little easy pass and catch, doing a little something different.
This makes this 3rd down manageable. It's a little bit medium to longer. It's about 3rd and 7, maybe 3rd and 6.5. But compared to, 2nd and 14, 2nd and 13, and a 3rd and 13, way more manageable. And you see there's no panic in this Mount Dora roster.
There's not.
They approach this, like we put our pants on the same way that everybody else does, and we're not scared of this Falcons team.
And listen, we talked about it in the pregame. They were giving up some size to St. Stephen's, and they've answered it as Roach goes forward, gets a yard on the quarterback keeper. Good point. We've got a Bulldog shaken up on the play. Slow to get up was Liam Fitzsimmons. Good-looking freshman.
See if they bring out Schaefer to kick it. He's 4 for 6 on field goals this year. But it looks like they're gonna go for it.
I'm actually kind of surprised you don't bring Schaefer out and let him try to get some points here in a championship game, but I'm sure there'll be more chances here at the red zone for Mountain Dora Christian the way they're playing right now.
Looks like they're going to call timeout.
Timeout, Mountain Dora Christian. We'll take a audio break just for a moment. 6:08 to play here in the first half. It is all Bulldogs. 21-0 here in this 5A Sunshine State Athletic Association Championship Saturday. We'll be back right here on the Quick Cut Sports Network.
Kona Ice for your halftime snack for the game.
And we'll go back into the Quick Cut Sports Network, coming to you live from Bryant Stadium here, home of the Dreadnoughts, one of the best names in all of high school mascots, the Lakeland Dreadnoughts. BA alongside Conrad Volchin. Here's a turnover. Not so fast, says St. Stephen's Episcopal. The pick by Austin Varga, and the score. Falcons on the board. That's the way to get momentum.
Yeah, that's a huge play for St. Stephen's. I mean, it looked like a simple pitch play by Mount Dora, and it just missed the receiver they were going to. But that is very huge because it went from a 4th and turnover on downs to St. Stephen's having to run it or to drive it the length of the field to now it's down to, at least for now, a 15-point game.
Absolutely right. What a play. What a way to get momentum back here with 5:50 to play in the first half. Now the turnover battle is a little closer. St. Stephen's needed it badly. We'll see if that changes things.
That's the first touchdown that Mount Dora has given up since October 20th against Interlochen.
Incredible stat, by the way.
Yeah.
It looks like they need a player, and they're going to send Jackson Rife in there late. Now they'll kick it away. It'll be Gavin Winterhalter. Good-looking leg there, up and through, 21-7. Now our score line here in this championship game, and I can't say enough about how much the Falcons needed something to go their way.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, you know, when everything was going towards that Mount Dora side, again, you had to get something, points, you know, a defensive play, anything. They haven't done it on offense. They've gotten it close, but they haven't scored on offense. And, you know, for Mount Dora, the question is, how are you going to respond? You had the unnecessary roughness on the side. You responded. You had the giving up the first down to start the second drive the Falcons had. You responded, and you know you had all this stuff. You've responded. Now this is where it gets the nitty gritty. It's 21-7 on that scoreboard, but a championship game, anything is possible, especially in the game of high school football, because. Or even in the pros, I mentioned before, Falcons-Patriots. It's 28-3, or even I'll throw you one better. The Oilers and the Bills back in I believe it was 93. It was the Bills' third championship run. It was 35-3 in the third quarter.
Over with, you think?
41-38 in overtime.
No.
You just never know.
You just never know. That's exactly right. And it makes you wonder. We talked about whether they would. I said whether you would see Dean Schaefer out there to try the field goal, do something different. You know, this one's going to be fielded straight away by Matt Carr. Brings it up the near side, crosses the 25, and he'll be down just shy of the 30. That's where the Bulldogs will take over 1st and 10. And, okay, now the situation is a little different. You're coming off a big momentum-shifting turnover. And what you have to protect the football first and foremost. But now You just want to make sure the scoreline stays the same before the break. That's all you worry about.
Exactly. If you're Mount Dora, it'd be great to get at least one more score.
Sure.
Whether it's a touchdown or a field goal.
Amazing.
But to your point, BA, you do not want to get this to within 7 points, especially with a high-powered rushing offense like St. Stephen's.
All right. Offense back out on the field for the Bulldogs after the turnover. Here's a reverse coming near side to Klein. Gets wrapped up into the line of scrimmage and forced out of play at the 30. Good defense there for the Falcons. Falcons well represented today in this championship game. They've got a decent section right here in front of us. Mount Dora travels well as always. Mount Dora Christian.
Yeah, St. Stephen's comes to us from Bradenton, Florida. Mount Dora comes to us out of, well, you guessed it, Mount Dora, Florida.
Uh-huh.
So, but a beautiful stadium to play in. And, I mean, just to have a stadium in a place where a team is known for winning championships, it's a great environment.
Yeah, there's no shortage of championship pedigree here for the Dreadnoughts of Lakeland. That is absolutely sure. Here's a keeper.
It's funny, you look at the press box that we're standing in right now, and you see all the state titles. They won their first one in 1923 for Lakeland, and then they took a break for about, 53 years, won one in 86, and then 96, 99, 04, 05, 06, 18, and 22.
Yeah.
It's just, I mean, this is probably the gold standard of Florida high school football.
I agree. It is currently, when you think of the teams like Seminole, who have a huge matchup next week against Lake Mary. But here we go for the Bulldogs. A pass on the near side is caught. Great defense by Gavin Winterhalter on the catch out in the flat from Seth Roach. And that's going to bring up a long fourth down of about 4th and 6. Now they're going to give them 5. Unofficially 4th and 6.
It was a great idea throwing it, but Roach had to jump up in the air to pull it down, and it's there. You could feel the momentum going towards that Falcon side, and like you said, for Mount Dora, now it's just, can we hang on and get into halftime still up by 2 scores?
Near block. Great special teams play by St. Stephen's. The punt does take a Bulldog bounce all the way down inside the 30 to the 28. And now we'll see the Falcons come back out on the field on offense, and their defense did exactly what they needed to do, a quick stop. They only took 2 minutes off the clock, 3:34 left now, and your offense has an opportunity to get it to a 7-point game.
Yeah, it's the first 3 and out they've forced since Mount Dora's first possession of the game.
Great defense.
And, great job by the punter getting that Connor Calfee, who was also punting. I mean, you got those guys, at least 2 guys in his face, but to get it, I don't know how he did it, but it spun just right to where it bounced and stayed in versus going straight out at around the 40-45.
He almost put a little draw on it because I initially thought it was coming out of bounds.
Same.
Uh-oh. Here's a little miscue. Great recognition by Evan Brown to find the football and come down with it. Snap went through his hands momentarily. That's a tough one right there. Obviously, unintentional mistake. Makes it 2nd and about 15. Clock rolls at 3:12.
And that's another thing that's so detrimental to a drive is penalties, but having it wasn't a fumbled snap, but having a snap to where you have to just take a knee or just give up, and now you're at 2nd. It's almost like you had a false start penalty.
Brown looks, fires over the middle. Oh, just over, or throws in front of his intended target, Ryan Jensen. That's 2 plays they've gone to Jensen. But that one, clearly had him, and that would have been a nice gain over the middle. Definitely 1st down and more.
Yeah, and it's like I said earlier, this Bulldog defense has done a great job keeping contain on the right and left sides. The one part that we've seen a little bit of their weakness has been in the middle, but they've been getting pressure to Brown in that backfield, and that's probably 2 or 3 missed throws we've seen in this first half that should have been easy catches, but were not.
Here's a keeper trying to bounce to the outside, unable to do so thanks to the great defense by Michael Napoli. Napoli, I hear the official pronunciation, so Michael Napoli. I had it right the very first time.
Timeout for Mount Dora.
Mount Dora is going to take a timeout. We'll take a quick break with them. 2:30 to play here in the first half, 21-7 in favor of the Bulldogs. Back with more right here on the Quick Cut Sports Network. And we'll go back into the Quick Cut Sports Network here from Lakeland. Championship Saturday for the Sunshine State Athletic Association. I'm BA alongside Connor Volch. We appreciate you tuning in here on the Quick Cut Sports Network. And Mount Dora's defense forces a punt. Conrad, I keep saying, that's terrible.
That's all right.
Here's a return by Klein, gets it across midfield. And this is going to be really good field position for Mount Dora Christian. And they're wanting to score now.
100%.
Yeah, with 2.5 minutes left, they're wanting to score because they want that insurance touchdown after giving up that. I don't know if you call that a pick or just a grab.
It was a pick.
He pitched it right to him.
Because he pitched it forward.
Yep.
But, I mean, it's you've got 2:19, you've got a timeout left. And you're on the plus side of the field.
Yeah.
So you might as well take advantage because you never know.
Here's going to be a throw by Roach. Goes in and out of the hands of his intended target out there on the far side. That was Seth Roach. And that's another little easy pitch and catch. We saw it on the last possession over here on the near side with Seth Roach. They're going to want that one back. Those will be plays that they'll say, if this game gets any closer, hey, those are the ones we have to have, fellas.
And for sure, and with a dropped pass like that, it stops the clock. So, pending this goes another 3 and out, St. Stephen's has a chance to do something with maybe a minute left on the clock. So you got to be careful with the football here. Don't go away from what got you into this position.
Two receivers top of the screen here as Roach rolls to his left, and it's going to be batted out of his arm. And depending on what the officials call, that could be a fumble very easily. St. Stephen's feel like they got it out before the arm went forward, and it's going to be called an incomplete pass, much to the dismay of the Falcon faithful right below us. And Conrad, that was very similar to what we saw. It's just a play where Mount Dora last time, it was their defense that knocked it out of the hands of Evan Brown.
Yeah, that was a very, very huge call for Mount Dora. But now it's 3rd and 10, and they've only burned 13 seconds off the clock.
Yes.
And it's one of those things, do a run play here because you might not get the first down, but St. Stephen's has all 3 timeouts. So if nothing else, force them to burn a timeout.
And I'm running Klein. This time he fights his way forward, gets stood up at the 45. That's where forward progress will leave them. Man, St. Stephen's has dug in, and that's going to be whistles and a timeout. So that'll bring up a long 4th and 9 in a very interesting situation, very close to midfield. Minute 51 on the clock. What do you do?
I think if you're Mount Dora, definitely punt it, obviously, but sky kick it.
Yeah.
Because if you've got a punter that's able to sky kick it, you get that little 4 to 5 second hang time. It allows that punt team to get down the field, make your coverages, and force those punt returners to throw their arm up in the air. It's like, no, I want to fair catch it, or maybe you might get like what we saw from Mike Cyphers, longtime punter for the San Diego Chargers. Big Charger fan myself. Of course, I'm going to throw that out there.
Yeah.
But he had a playoff game against the Indianapolis Colts. I think it was back in 2009. They went 8-8 during the regular season, and he had 3 punts that were inside the 5-yard line. So if you can angle it down there, again, make St. Stephen's drive the length of the field because it's much harder to do it from not 90-plus yards versus the easy 50 to 60. I say easy like it's nothing.
Well, sure, but I understand what you're saying. Here's a pooch kick. It's going to land at about the 28, roll forward inside the 20 down to the 16-yard line. So, wise decision. Well played to let that go by St. Stephen's. And now, I mean, yes, they're deep in their own territory. But for Mount Dora, you did pin them inside the 20 and put a lot of pressure on Evan Brown.
Yeah, and it's like what they did in that first quarter with the field position play. We saw this earlier in the first quarter. You have them within that 20-yard line. They're right about the 15.5-yard line. 85 yards is a long way to go.
Yes, it is.
And versus going 60 or maybe 50 yards. And, a minute 40 with 2 timeouts left, that's plenty of time to get there. But now, if you're Mount Dora, hang on, get into halftime, relax. But if you're St. Stephen's, it's like, hey, we scored one. Let's try for another one.
And it's all, for me, it's all about execution for St. Stephen's Episcopal at this point, this down and distance with this time. And Brown is going to be brought down from behind after a gain of 2 on first down. That'll bring up 2nd and 8. Clock rolls under a minute and a half to play here in this first half of this 5A championship contest. We definitely appreciate you tuning in here on the Quick Cut Sports Network. Bobby Allen, Conrad Volch, our executive producer, Mark Nusser, and our executive camera operator, Joey Pletka.
Yeah, without those two guys, we can't do our job.
No.
So huge thank you to those guys.
I tell Mark that every day, that the job of a producer on a broadcast humbles me because it is so important. Here's a toss over the top. Got a man caught at midfield. What a toss and a catch. And listen, Mount Dora Christian just lost an assignment right there. That's all that was.
100%.
Way to go. Taking advantage of it by St. Stephen's.
And one positive thing I'll say about Mount Dora before that throw, they kept the quarterback in contain. They didn't let him get those easy runs that they had before. But as you said, that's just a blown assignment.
Yeah, it was. They lost the man up that far sideline. And that was a great catch. Presence of mind to grab it and immediately take that next step out of play without stepping out of play first. He was tiptoeing the sideline, and that's going to give the Falcons 1st and 10 inside Bulldog territory. Clock stopped at 54.5 ticks.
And they still got both of their timeouts, so they're in prime position to get down there. But that's huge for Mount Dora because they punted it down to the 16-yard line. So, sometimes those extra 20, 30 yards on a punt are huge. So we'll see what the Falcons can do. But definitely, we've seen a couple drives stall out for each team here. But Falcons, they're in full control now. Yeah. And for them, we need to score now to have that momentum going into halftime.
Here's a toss to the near side. What a hit. Oh, boy. Michael Napoli has came to play on this beautiful championship Saturday. What a hit on the pass and the catch from Evan Brown to Julian Brown. My goodness. Timeout with 44.4 seconds. What a read. I mean, that's picture perfect. That's how you draw it up.
And that's that response. We saw them with that blown assignment on the previous play, and they were ready. Nothing fooled them there, and that's what we've seen from this Mount Dora offense and defense now.
Yeah.
They get into those positions where any other team or anybody, you could give them the break of, well, they blew that assignment, so that's what, caused them to move down the field and blah, blah, blah. No, they erase that from their memory, and it's next play. You have to have that mentality because if you dwell on the plays beforehand, it's not 2nd and 6 from the opposing 35-yard line. It's 1st and goal from the 8. So you have to, again, erase that from your mind. And Mount Dora has done a good job of that. They know the down and distance. They know where they are on the field, and they forced the Falcons to burn a timeout there.
Here we go. 2nd and 15. 2 receivers split each way. Julian Brown in the backfield with the quarterback. Evan Brown is going to be a keeper. Tries to bounce it outside. He's going to be wrapped up and brought down from behind. There's that man again, Connor Calfee. He has had an incredible first half as well.
Great job with contain there if you're Mount Dora.
Yeah.
I mean, easily Evan Brown could have ran around that corner and gotten at least 2 to 3 yards, but I mean, this relentless pursuit and that swarm-style defense for the Bulldogs has kept them in this game.
I've been keeping my eye on Connor Calfee from his middle linebacker position, and let me tell you something. If there's ever a player that I've seen that isn't in complete control of his defense, it is number 19 in white. You'll watch him drag guys around. If he thinks they're out of position, he'll grab them by the jersey, and he'll make them go to where he thinks they should be. I love that. I love that leadership quality that he has, and he's shown it to everyone here in this first half.
Well, and especially on the defensive side, the nitty-gritty side of the ball where you have to clean up a mess, if you will, every play all the time, whether you're playing well or not. And to have that relentless pursuit all throughout this first half, and again, as I said, had the unnecessary roughness penalty in that first quarter. I'm going to keep going back to that because some guys, they get in their own head. They're like, oh, my gosh, these referees are against me or this, that, and the other thing.
Sure.
But no, erased it from his mind and then made a big play. I think it was 2 or 3 plays later on the same drive. So it's one of those things, as you mentioned, great leader, keeping the guys in control, involved, telling them, hey, go this way or no, go over here. And, I mean, that's why it's a 3rd and long.
Yeah.
And, 12.7 to go. They're going to have to take a couple deep shots here.
Trips to the near side. Single receiver top of the screen for Evan Brown. Fires near side over the top. Has a man. Threw it a little bit too high. Intended target, Caleb Bosick. That's the right guy for that pass play right there. Ball falls incomplete. 7 seconds to play first half.
And great job there by Seth Roach. It looked like he was going to try and make some contact with the receiver, but pulled back at the last second. And I think the receiver on that one, Bosick, was expecting it and kind of just, reached out with his arm to try and maybe draw some contact. Ball fell incomplete, and, that's the difference between now being 4th and about 13 to first down.
St. Stephen's brings the play in. They'll line up, trips near side once more. Mount Dora is going to dig their heels in. 4th and 12, 7 seconds to play first half, 21-0. Or 21-7, excuse me. Mount Dora Christian with the lead. And it's going to be a penalty against. Delay a game against St. Stephen's. That's a bad penalty to have in this particular situation. Let's see if they can make up for it here. Brown drops back, trips near side, forced out of the pocket. He has to go down. He made a business decision right there under heavy pressure. Stops the clock with 1.2 seconds to play, and that will give Mount Dora Christian the football back.
And I'm not going to lie to you, he took that knee right around the 34-yard line, so if nothing else, maybe attempt a long field goal. And I think that's what they're going to do. The kicker's on the field.
That. Yeah.
So this will be probably, let's see, that's had 14 yards to the back of the end zone, plus another 7. So that's about oh my goodness, math is so hard. So 48, that's about a 56-yard field goal.
That's a long one.
Just don't get it blocked and you'll have a chance. We'll see what he can do here.
Football be spotted after the snap. He held at the 40. We wondered if we'd see him last possession, but we're going to see him now with an opportunity to get on the board before the half. Kick is up. It's going to be short. It'll hit in the end zone. But that'll do it for the first half of action here in this 5A championship game from Lakeland here at Bryant Stadium. And we see Mount Dora Christian with a 21-7 lead going into the break. Conrad, before we take a pause for halftime, what do you think the adjustments might be made for either team as we've seen what has transpired in this first half?
Well, I think first and foremost for the team that's leading right now, Mount Dora, don't go away from what got you into the position to be ahead by 2 scores, because we kind of saw them get a little, I guess, not afraid, but a little gung-ho with it. Gun-ho or gung-ho, whatever the word is. It's an old word my parents taught me. There we go, gun-shy, thank you.
You got a little timid.
I feel like I got to dig into my thesaurus, Mr. B.A.
It's a lot of years to put that thesaurus together. Let me tell you.
For sure, but I think the biggest thing is to, continue to do what got you into the position to be up by 2 scores at 1.3 scores. But if you're St. Stephen's, the run has worked. We've seen that early in the first quarter, but it has also stalled out. Maybe try and find the pass, because the pass started to work a little bit, but they're missing their receivers. They had the one great play along the sideline to get him on the plus side of the 50, but outside of that, Mount Dora, they have kept the contain, and they have made sure all the receivers are covered, and most importantly, they're adjusting and they're responding.
Sure.
You know,
sure.
that interception return for a touchdown, they could have easily started collapsing.
Oh, sure.
But they took it. They took it on the chin, went back out there. They didn't get the first down, but they also didn't let St. Stephen's get a first down either. So I don't really know what to tell you, but I think if you're Mount Dora, continue with what got you into the position you're in, and if you're St. Stephen's, you might have to throw everything in the kitchen sink at it to try and get something to work.
Let's try something different indeed. Well, we'll take a break for halftime, and we'll come back here in about 15 minutes and bring you all the action of the second half here in this 5A championship game from Bryant Stadium. You're watching the Sunshine State Athletic Association 5A championship exclusively on the Quick Cut Sports Network. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back into the Quick Cut Sports Network here from Bryant Stadium, home of the Dreadnoughts of Lakeland High School, perennial state champions. I'm Bobby Allen along with Conrad Volch. We certainly appreciate you tuning in here to this 5A championship contest, game 1 of 2. Here for the Sunshine State Athletic Association. We appreciate them allowing us to come and be the official broadcaster of their championship games. We'll be back next weekend with 8-man. And right here we got a 21-7 score line. Very interesting point you brought up at halftime, Conrad, about Mount Dora getting the ball back. So we're going to have to see a test of St. Stephen's defense right off the jump if they want to keep this momentum on that late touchdown, which gave us this 14-point scoreline.
100%.
This return goes up outside the numbers far side, and that's where Mount Dora Christian will have it 1st and 10. So what do you expect to see out of St. Stephen's? I know we talked about it before the break. Do you expect them to do anything different as far as being comfortable with Evan Brown running it?
I don't think so because, as we said, Evan Brown came into this game over 1,200 yards rushing, but also over 1,000 yards passing. We've seen him try to establish that run throughout the game, but for I'd say probably about 40%, about 45-50% of it, Mount Dora has been ready for him. They've game planned for this game very well, and it's just so hard if you're St. Stephen's because it's something that's worked for you all year. You have an 8-2 record to prove it, but it just has not worked thus far in this game.
Before we see Evan Brown, we see a direct snap to Taylor Klein, and he is met and pushed back immediately. Ball came out after he hit the ground. Slow to get up as he is pushed down at about the 15. That's a big defensive play. Forward progress gives him about a half a yard, but that was a great read defensively.
Yeah, and for St. Stephen's, they need to come out and they need to hit the Bulldogs in the mouth to begin because you know, the Bulldogs have done a great job of keeping contained, controlling the clock, and not blinking when it gets tough. But, you know, for St. Stephen's, it's like, look, you know, we've been here before in this championship game. We just gotta play good old-fashioned Falcon football, and we'll be fine.
Here's Carr to the near side, gets out across the 30 to about the 32. That's going to be enough to move the chains for the Bulldog offense, as they obviously want to try to take as much clock off the scoreboard and put as many points on the scoreboard as humanly possible here. They led 21-0 in the first half before that interception return for the touchdown by St. Stephen's number 50, Austin Varga, which really put a lot of momentum on their side. And we were wondering how that would affect their defense, as their defense was going to have to show up and stop Mount Dora on this very first drive. And that pass is tipped by Varga. He heard me talking about him. Incomplete. Great play defensively.
Yeah, and that's the thing that St. Stephen's is going to have to do, is they're going to have to battle the passing game of Mount Dora, because they're a very well-balanced offense. And, you know, they get chunk plays, but they also make those third downs manageable. And that's what I was talking about in the beginning. You have to make those third downs manageable, especially against a high-powered offense, because you want to keep their defense on the field for as long as possible.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. Klein will be back in the backfield with the quarterback, Nathan Roach. He fires downfield, has a man catch by Carr inside Falcon territory down to the 47-yard line. Great play over the middle. Good pass, good catch. Something a little different. Worked up the middle for the Bulldogs.
And it looked like just a simple possible play action, but the man was wide open, and they're finding the open man. They're not trying to get too cute with it. They're just
good point.
They're playing fundamental football, and you know maybe they'll do sometimes the little end around plays. We've seen that a couple of times, but for the most part, it's not real flashy, but it's working.
Not complicated at all.
It's working.
Yeah. Yep. Two receivers to the near side. Klein in the backfield for Nathan Roach. He's going to hand it off to Klein, coming near side. Crosses midfield, gets past the line of scrimmage, finally ridden out of play at about the 40. They're going to give him the 38 on the play.
One of the St. Stephen's coaches took a massive hit on that sideline. I hope he's okay.
Yes, he sure did. Slow to get up.
Luckily, the the sports medicine staff there for the Falcons is quick to talk to him. Looked like he just got the wind knocked out of him. He looks to be okay and laughing it off. But I don't care how big you are or how small you are.
Run.
When you got a man running at you at 60+ miles an hour, of course that's an exaggeration. It
feels like it.
Especially when you're at a dead stop. That's got to hurt.
It's weird for me anyway, being so used to being in the press box and going down field side during a game. Scares the life out of me. They're coming at me. Here's Roach with a keeper. Useful with his legs inside the 30, 25, all the way down to the 22-yard line. Huge scamper there from the junior quarterback, Nathan Roach.
I mean, I was watching that play. It was, I mean, he's doing things that Evan Brown should be doing on St. Stephen's, and that was like a video game-like play. I felt like I'm on my couch playing Madden 23.
And when you look at it from that angle, it's very interesting. You know, for players like Roark, who obviously lead a championship-caliber team, you can almost see the game slowing down for him.
100%.
You know how they say once you're in the
100%.
zone, the game slows down. You can kind of see it with him, and it's obviously impressive, and for good reason, because they're here playing for a 5A championship, as they're going to stack twins over here on the near side. Here's a handoff. Klein makes the first man miss, lowers his shoulder at the 20. That's where he'll be knocked down. They're actually going to mark him at the 21. Big hit from St. Stephen's Ivan Tulipov.
We've got a flag on the play. It's probably going to be for holding. But yeah, no, we've seen Mount Dora again, very fundamentally sound with the way they play football here, and it, you know, that's what they're going to have to do for this half, because St. Stephen's proved what they could do, at least on the offensive side with the rush. You know, they didn't cash in on any of their offensive drives, but they proved that you make one little mistake, they're going to make you pay for it, and that's how they got that touchdown on that fourth down try. But you know, for Mount Dora, like I said, you have to play the way that got you into this position. You cannot go crazy or do anything flashy simply because it's a state championship. Just play your game.
And on that drive that saw St. Stephen's score, they took only 2 minutes off the clock, which was probably one of the most impressive things about it. And they actually got the football back again and could have scored another touchdown on a drive. Here's Roach, changes direction, gets across the 30, run down from behind. He's going to have to take a little bit of a loss here of about 6, maybe 7, as he is slow to get up.
Yeah, Roach on the season came in with about 240 yards rushing. Again, not too many, but he was third on the team in rushing yards for Mount Dora. And very shifty. I was not expecting that from him because he's more of a passer. But he's done it with his legs today here early in the third quarter.
He has, and this is, of course, very serious for all the folks that are Bulldog faithful. We'll take a pause for a moment as they tend to Nathan Roach. Obviously, thoughts with him, as he is a tough kid, that is for sure. Folks, we'll take this opportunity to thank the SSAA, Sunshine State Athletic Association. They are Florida's premier independent athletic conference. And we want to thank some of the sponsors who come along with the SSAA. That'll be NGU Sports Lighting, the title sponsor for the championships. Orlando Health, Body Armor, Polk County Tourism and Sports Marketing, BSN, Under Armour, S2 Pass Digital Ticketing. Also AstroTurf, Vertical Rays Fundraising, Gipper Media, Max Preps, RSA Consulting, and Mamarazzi Studios. And again, we here at Quick Cut and the Quick Cut Sports Network are definitely very proud to be able to bring you all the championship action as Roach is able to make his way off the field with very little help. That is a great sign. So now your game plan obviously changes dramatically if you're Mount Dora Christian.
Yeah, they'll bring in number 11 of Jaden Burgos.
Yes.
Junior quarterback, standing about 5'7", 130 pounds, but he's got 528 passing yards to his name. So, again, you would think, normally if you're in this situation when you have your go-to guy, you'd be scared.
Yeah.
But you've got 2 quarterbacks on this roster that have just enough of or just a quality opportunity to do this. So we hope to see Roach back in the lineup soon, but has to come off for at least one play due to that being down on the floor. Same way with equipment coming off. But again, your Mount Dora, just don't do anything too crazy here. Try to get some yardage to make it easier for your kicker and Schaefer. But again, very well experienced quarterback here.
Yeah, take care of the football. He's going to have 2 receivers top of the screen. This is a like-for-like change, at least statistically. You said it. Here's a pass over the middle, and it's going to be picked off. Oh, no. First play from scrimmage for the backup quarterback, Jaden Burgos, against, at least tonight. And, boy, we're going to have a hold. Flags come in against Mount Dora Christian, as indicated by the officials, and we have got an injured Falcon at the 15-yard line, holding his left arm.
Looks like it's Gavin Winterhalter, and
that's big.
That's a huge, huge loss if that's true. They got the sports medicine staff out there for St. Stephen's Episcopal, but yeah, I like the call what they had there for Burgos, because he's obviously got the arm. He's got over 500 passing yards to his name this season, but he just missed it wide. To quote the hockey term, just missed it wide a little bit, because if he would have thrown it more towards the middle right there, it would have been caught. But just if it woulda, coulda, shoulda, it happened. But that was Burgos' first interception of the season. He had 4 touchdowns to no interceptions on the year, but it almost, interestingly enough, it almost feels like a punt, because
it really does.
St. Stephen's is starting from their 15-yard line.
Definitely not an ideal field position, but they are certainly capable of putting a long drive together. We have seen 3 or 4 times in this football game. Here's Evan Brown lowering his shoulder across the 20. He'll get about 6 or 7 on first down. Great play there.
Great job there by Blake Banks, hanging on for dear life to bring him down. It looked to be some miscommunication there on the Bulldog defense, but Banks getting in the right position at the right time. Again, the rare time we've seen the Bulldogs almost lose contain, but luckily for them, they, big chunk play, but for a guy that has over 1,200 yards rushing, that's a win if you can keep him down and limit the damage.
Couple of adjustments defensively here by the Bulldogs as Evan Brown takes it straight ahead, tripped up at the line of scrimmage, falls forward for a yard. Several Bulldogs in there on the stop.
Well, that's the thing here for the Bulldogs is how are you going to adjust to this? We've seen them adjust to maybe costly penalties and to 4 and outs or whatever, and this is another one of those situations. You're coming off an interception, just like the pick 6. What are you going to do about it?
Here's Brown, and just overthrows his intended target. Again, we've seen that all afternoon as he has either led him just a little too far or sent it over the top just a little too high. And again, you said earlier, and it may very well be that Brown is just, of course he is, he's uncomfortable in the pocket right now because of the pressure the Bulldogs are bringing.
And Xavier Dalton, who had that fumble recovery, I think it was for at least 60 yards back in that first half, was on defense putting pressure on Brown, and he had an open man, he just missed him.
Yeah.
As they're going to go for it here on 4th and about 2. Trying to get some sort of something going here.
Julian Brown comes in motion. It's going to be a keeper from Evan Brown. He has the first down as he gets out across the 25 up to the 28-yard line. But a flag. Do we have a flag?
Looked to be a fumble-esque, I think, because we saw the Mount Dora coach pointing towards, hey, we have the ball, but looked like St. Stephen's recovered it. So that if that would have happened, that would have been the 3rd fumble committed there by St. Stephen's, but they were able to keep on the ball there.
They definitely can't afford any more turnovers. Trailing 21-7 with 5:54 to play in the third here from Bryant Stadium in beautiful Lakeland, Florida for this 5A championship for the Sunshine State Athletic Association. This has been a lot of fun, and Conrad, we get to do it all over again here in a few hours, 7 o'clock. A very good team in Masters Academy who I had the pleasure of seeing a couple of weeks ago. They are very sound. They are very well coached. Former UCF quarterback Garrett Kruchek. And they have an all-star coaching staff. Former Oakland Raider Doug Gabriel, former UCF head coach Garrett Kruchek's father Mike. So there's no shortage of football knowledge on that sideline, and Westminster Academy comes in looking to upset the apple cart a little bit. They feel like they have had a good enough season to put some pressure on Masters Academy, so that should be a really good ball game.
Yeah, Westminster looking for their first state title since 1990. Masters, first since 2019. So battle of two very different storylines there. It's going to be a fun one.
Evan Brown over the middle. Overthrows his intended target, but Caleb Bosick is upset because he feels like he was held in his route. So do the Falcon faithful. No flag, no call.
I like this no call here.
And forget it.
I'll tell you why, because right at the end you saw Bosick push off at the last minute. You saw the little. Usually, if the ref sees hand fighting from both players, they typically won't call it. Yeah. And I think that's simply what happened. Whether there was holding or not from the one side, Bosick did push off to create those 2 to 3 yards of separation.
Julian Brown in motion. Evan Brown with the keeper. Tries to go left, has some room. First down and maybe more, but he's going to step out of bounds or be forced out of play. Let's see where they spot him.
Holding.
Oh, it's going to come back. Holding against the Falcons. That is a very inopportune penalty.
It's a big break if you're Mount Dora, because that's another play they lost contained there for Brown. And Brown, I mean, had he not gotten tripped up and out of bounds, again, he was ready to say, hey, see you later. Let's go enjoy some Barks root beer on a nice Saturday afternoon. Because, I mean, he was ready to streak down the sideline. I mean, just like a bad painter against a wall. I mean, you don't want to have that happen. And, for Mount Dora, take advantage of it, because now you go from a 1st and 10 St. Stephen's to now a 2nd and about 16.
Tough situation here for Evan Brown and company. Certainly capable, though, as we've seen all evening or all afternoon. Same formation. Brown again in motion from right to left as Evan Brown has to throw it away. Nobody home. Pressure came. Xavier Dalton, number 10 in white, has been a menace in the backfield all afternoon.
And on the other side was number 14 of Jordan Batansis. And, I mean, this, as I said, the contain for most of this game for Mount Dora has been, in my opinion, on that left and right side, has been not perfect, but it's done. They've done their job.
Pretty close.
They're mostly weak in that middle, because that's where they've had most of their success in the run and the pass game for St. Stephen's. But for the most part, this Mount Dora Christian team has kept it contained on the outsides, and their front three, their defensive linemen, have been doing their job.
Absolutely right. Here's Evan Brown forced out of the pocket and right into the arms of another awaiting Bulldog defender. You said it, man. It's just wave after wave of white jerseys coming. And every once in a while, they'll make enough miss to hit a chunk yardage play. But for the majority of this game, they're not getting to the second level at all.
100%. And, I call it the swarm defense. I remember I was in junior college at Victor Valley College in California, and I had a coach. His name was Mike Esposito, and he used to say we would do a swarm drill to practice just that, because you don't want a situation where you miss an open field tackle and there's nobody there.
Yeah, no help.
And there's nobody there. You want to have 11 hats on that football, and that's what Mount Dora is good at. They might have 1 or 2 guys that can't bring them down, but there's another 4, 5, 6 dudes coming in. It's like, hey, hold on for at least a second. We got you.
Yep. Give me those extra couple of half seconds is all it takes.
100%. It's like we got a false start penalty here on the Falcons.
Again, another inopportune penalty, and they're going to punt this one away. going to be off the side of the foot. It does take a Falcon roll, but it is going to barely reach their own 45. With 3 minutes and 35 seconds to play here in the third period, it'll be excellent field position for the Bulldogs, still holding that 21-7 lead here in this championship contest.
Well, and as I said before, BA, I mean, how are you going to respond? How is Mount Dora going to respond after their quarterback gets hurt, has to go out for a play, or shaken up, I should say, and you bring in your backup who, again, has the numbers to prove he can play, and throws an interception? What are you going to do about it?
Yeah.
Are you going to lay down and let the other team score, or are you going to bear down like you've done all game?
Yep.
And that's exactly what they did. There was a couple first downs they let go by, but their defense came to play, and looks like
it is going to be Burgos again. It'll be interesting to see and monitor the health of Nathan Roach. Here's Burgos, hands off to Taylor Klein. Gets the edge. Has 5 yards before he's pushed out of play just across or inside the 40.
You talk about making something out of nothing. I mean, Klein was in a position to where he was going to get tackled for at least a 4-yard loss, turned it into a 6-yard gain.
Yeah.
That's big time, especially you got your backup quarterback in. You know, you don't want to call it, prevent football, but you don't want to put you want to play to your team's strengths.
Yeah.
You don't want to make him play, you don't want to make your guy play what he can't do. And I mean, that was a great drawn up play there.
Handoff coming near side. Good for a first down and more at the 30. Jordan Betances, is that right? 14, was that?
Yep,
sure was.
Comes into this game with 83 total rushing yards, 2 touchdowns, and we just talked about him on defense, was part of that one quarterback pressure, and he's doing it on offense. Haven't called his name all first half, but it's kind of one of those things. You're in the championship game. I mean, there's no more postseason after this. It's either you win or you don't. And guys are embracing their role here. Coach talked about it. I've got 40 kids battling 70 to 80 kids, and they haven't blinked at all.
Direct snap comes to Klein near side. 25-20, cuts inside and falls forward inside the 15 down to the 12. Well, they're going to give him the 14. Taylor Klein has been a huge bright spot for the offense for the Bulldogs today. He's making a case for player of the game, that's for sure.
Most importantly, it keeps that clock moving. I understand it's still the third quarter, but you want to keep your offense out there more than your defense. And that's the thing. They've played fundamental football. They've done the plays that have gotten them in position to be where they are, and they're not doing anything that they don't need to do. It might not be the prettiest offense, but it's successful for them today.
Inside draw to Betances again. He gets inside the 10 down to about the 8-yard line before he's brought down. Good tackle there by Jed MacArthur.
And this Falcons defense just looks exhausted right now here in this third quarter. You saw number 21 for St. Stephen's, Caleb Bosek, just had his elbows on his knees, just out of breath. I mean, that's what I said before for Mount Dora. You got to wear down this Falcon defense, and they're doing it here in this third quarter.
Minute 37 on the clock. Direct snap. Klein again tries to fight his way through the first wave of Falcon defenders, unable to do so. Stood up by the combination of Jed MacArthur and Graham James. And we have got another Mount Dora Bulldogs slow to get up.
Yeah, so far they haven't had their backup quarterback in Burgos in. They've been doing some direct snaps to Taylor Klein. I like what they're doing
I don't mind it a bit.
He's got the run ability, but it's one of those things where the Falcons will adjust to that, and you got to be ready to, as they say, go onward and upward. But I can't quite see who it is down on the field, but whoever it is, I guarantee you will be a big loss if they cannot return.
Yeah, injuries are big when you're talking about numbers half of a typical roster. And he is up on his own accord. That is excellent to see. Number 58, Owen Draves, 6'5", 255, offensive and defensive lineman.
Another senior that wants to finally get over that hump of that state title game. Again, if you're just joining us, Mount Dora, this is their 4th straight state championship game that they've gone to. They've never won one. They got close 2 years ago against Lake Highland Prep, fell 14-13, but the other 2 years were not as close. So they're trying to say, hey, we belong in this category as well.
They're down at about 3 for the Bulldogs as they threaten to add to their 21-7 scoreline. Connor Calfee in the backfield. It's going to be Klein on the carry, right side, 5, touchdown Bulldogs. Flag comes in, middle of the field. Indication on the field is a touchdown for Mount Dora. However, nobody seemed to notice the flag that almost came in simultaneously as Klein hit the end zone on the far side. That flag comes flying in from the near side.
That's a tough call there for Mount Dora because I'll be honest with you, I thought they handed it off to Jordan Batansis
coming left,
going to the left, and when I didn't see him with the ball, I was like, where did it go? And then I saw Klein with it, and that's a big call for Mount Dora because you go from 27-7 pending the PAT to now 3rd and 11. I mean, still have a chance for a first down, but
sure.
That's huge for both sides. For the Falcons, it's like, okay, maybe we can minimize the damages here, but if you're Mount Dora, you want to keep pouring it on.
And to the point you made earlier, you got to forget it. You got to forget you scored. This time they are going to give it near side to Batanzas. He's going to cross the 15 and be wrapped up and stopped. Gain of about a yard on the play, and here we go, 4th and 10 for Mount Dora Christian with under 30 seconds to play here in the 3rd quarter.
I think you have to kick it here. As much as you want to, pin. Excuse me.
Kid's got a great leg.
Yeah, he's 4 for 7 now on the season, but he's proven that he's almost perfect on PATs. And this is within his range.
Absolutely.
And, points is better than nothing, especially as we've got a whole 12 minutes left in this 4th quarter coming up next. But, I mean, this is decision time, and it's tough because you had a touchdown. It was called back for holding, and now it's one of those things where do we play it safe and go for the field goal, or do we risk it? And if you don't get it, you have the Falcons deep, which your defense has been very well all game long. But on the other side, if you get it, you look like – here's the problem with stuff like that. If you get it, you look like a genius.
Sure.
If you don't get it, people look at you and go, why'd you do that?
Sure.
So it's one of those things where are you willing to take the risk or do you want to play it safe?
It's funny how there have been a bucket full of coaches' careers that have come down to that very decision.
Yeah.
As to what it just is what it is. It's do you take the risk and look like an absolute world beater, or do you look like a fool?
Yeah.
I mean, it is what it is.
And it's so hard to think about that in the moment because your adrenaline's running and the it's the championship game as it's confirmed for us here. They will kick it.
Yep.
So now it's just on.
I like that decision, miss or make.
100%.
I don't mind that. You're still up 2 scores, and you have shown that your offense is very capable all evening. I don't mind it. On 4th and 5 here, which will be the first play of the 4th and final quarter here of this 5A championship game. We're so proud to bring it to you here on the Quick Cut Sports Network. This is the Sunshine State Athletic Association 5A championship. We got another one coming 7 p.m. tonight right here on the Quick Cut YouTube channel. We hope that you tune in for that one. That's going to be a dandy. Westminster Academy and Masters Academy. But here, it's 21-7 Mount Dora Christian with the lead and the football.
It's like the referees are getting the yard markers adjusted. The down marker was all the way where you said 4th and 5, and now they pull it back to about 4th and 9.5.
31-yarder from the right leg of Dean Schaefer. Hold by Carr, kick is away, and it's blocked. Great defense for St. Stephen's Episcopal. They attempted the kick. No different than a miss. The defense has proven they can hold and contain, as you have said so eloquently tonight. They can contain Evan Brown, which is exactly what you have to do with a player like that. They've done wonders doing that already. And they're comfortable relying on their defense. That's why I didn't mind a make or miss on that. I didn't mind that attempt.
Me neither, because, like I said, at the end of the day, you're trying for points.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I shouldn't say it was a give-me field goal, because really no field goal is, whether it's the 52-yarder they attempted at the end of the half or that 31-yarder. But now it's like I've been saying the whole game. What are you going to do? You had a field goal blocked. It nearly got returned. Thankfully, it went out of bounds. How are you going to adjust to this?
I'll tell you what I'd do. I'd grab the jersey of number 10, Xavier Dalton, and I'd say, son, go after him. So here, we've got to see what St. Stephen's Episcopal is going to do, trailing by 2 scores with 11:40 clock running, fourth quarter.
And it's like I said, they're a run-heavy team. You know, they've proven it all season long. They average 311 yards a game, 206 of them being rushing, which only leaves about 105 on the passing game. And for the most part, Mount Dora has had an answer for most of their runs tonight.
They're going to line up trips to the near side, single receiver up top. Keeper, Evan Brown, throws last minute and in and out of the hands of his intended target, Jed MacArthur, and I think he just heard the footsteps coming. That linebacker core for Mount Dora Christian was all again in a unit. I wish I had replay. I'd point it out because they just came in unison right to the football. And had he caught the ball, he was going to be immediately grabbed. Now, whether or not he got through, it's another story.
Yeah, the play was on target, but MacArthur was just looking before he caught it. That's only his 4th attempted reception on the season for 11 yards. And this is the quarter where you cannot have drops like that.
Keeper Evan Brown right side this time. Able to get across the 30 out to about the 33.
Matt Carr being the last line of defense there for Mount Dora, and Evan Brown looked at him and said, hey, I'm going to run through you, and Matt Carr said, no, you're not.
No, you're not. Carr's a tough kid. Undersized at 5'9", 165, but plays oversized, let me assure you.
And that's another senior. I keep referring to seniors on this Mount Dora roster. You know, these are those kids, they've been on this team for the last 3 state championship appearances.
Yeah.
They want to at least get one before they go out.
Think about how rarely a team like this comes around that has that much championship experience. Loose ball. Xavier Dalton, first one to get there. Ball comes loose, and Mount Dora Christian, another turnover. And that has set them up amazingly. Connor Calfee with another amazing defensive play himself.
Yeah, Calfee, I mean, he's been everywhere, and I keep referring to it till I'm blue in the face. He had that unnecessary roughness penalty on the sideline, but ever since then, it's like I said, he's completely forgot about it.
Different football player.
And you mentioned it as well. You see him throwing guys into position, directing traffic like a street light or even a stop sign, telling people, hey, you go here. No, you're in the wrong spot. I'll go here. And, I mean, this is a huge play because, again, how are you going to respond to a blocked field goal and they're on the plus 24-yard line, 26-yard line?
Amazing how things can turn around. And here is Nathan Roach back in at quarterback. Great to see him back in the football game after going down a couple of series ago with injury. But they got through it. Hats off to Mount Dora Christian's coaching staff and those experienced players that got through with unscathed in a starting quarterback going down.
Yeah, and, you know, they didn't score any points, unfortunately, while he was gone, but they didn't have negative yardage.
Exactly.
And they didn't have anything catastrophic happen, and the defense held up as well.
Absolutely true. Mount Dora Christian's going to line up Daniel Davidson along with Carr on the near side. Climbing the backfield. Roach is going to keep it. Tries for the edge at the 20, gets to the 19 before he is forced out of play. That stops the clock with 9:22 in the contest. Winterhalter in on the defensive stop that time. He's just one of those players that, for a team like St. Stephen's, can do it all.
Yeah,
he's had an excellent game.
100%. And I think if you're Mount Dora, it still feels like you need another score.
Kind of does, yeah.
Because 2 scores is great, but we've seen what St. Stephen's can do when they theoretically cook at the rush lane.
Yep.
And I think if you're Mount Dora, you at least need a field goal here to stretch it a little bit out of place.
Handoff Klein going left. Cuts back up inside. Now bounces out. He's shifty at the 10. Finally driven down at the 5-yard line. Keeps the clock ticking.
It's going to be a penalty flag on the field.
Stops it. Yep.
A second one flew in here.
I did not see it.
The first flag is down at about the 21, 22-yard line. I think it's going to be on number 58 of Owen Draves for holding, but we'll see what both flags are because at least I saw the first one come in, and the second one came in. He was kind of yelling and just was kind of doing what guys do when they get busted for holding, like, what do you mean?
What do you mean?
So I don't know if they got him for unsportsmanlike. I don't know what happened. We'll have to see.
It looks like Mount Dora Christian's walking an awful long way back. So it's going to be 2 penalties against Mount Dora Christian. It is going to be a hold and an unsportsmanlike.
So you go from a first down to now a third and – see where they put the football. It's going to be a 43-yard line. So the first down marker is the 16-yard line. So this is going to be a third and, oh my goodness, math.
I'm going to call it third and Walt Disney World.
I like it.
That's how far they got to go.
I like it.
I don't like math.
Me neither.
Nice little pitch and catch. Easily declined. Breaks 2 tackles. Gets all the way inside the 20, whistles below. Big missed tackle at the 30 that allowed Klein to bust forward to the 20, and talk about getting the yards back quick. You couldn't ask for any better than that. It does bring up 4th down, but my goodness, it was third and literally, I'd say 27 or 8 at least.
Yeah, you're correct, because it's 4th and about 4 now, and to get that many yards back after 2 penalties stacked on top of each other, between the busted play and Klein just putting his head down and saying, "Hey, let me try and get something." I mean, they're going to go for it here. I like the call. Go for it. You had a field goal blocked. Just go for it and see what you can get.
As we talked about, Mount Dora Christian is totally fine relying on their defense, and that's why they elected to attempt the field goal on the last drive.
Head coach for Mount Dora is wondering why they didn't reset the clock, because that seemed awful fast for it to be a delay of game penalty. They usually
they did throw that, delay of game. And it is fast.
He's asking for an explanation, and I didn't even think about it until I saw him pumping his hand in the air, because usually they do that to redo the clock, but now it's 4th and about 9.
And now we're going to have whistles and a timeout for Mount Dora Christian. And, they're not happy over there on that Bulldog sideline. And rightfully so. I think that it seemed awful quick to me.
Yeah, and it's something that sometimes is insignificant in the moment sometimes, but when you're in Mount Dora's position, you're up 21-7 with about 8:02 left. You've seen what St. Stephen's can do from the rushing attack if they get in wide open space. I mean, they could just as easily have 2 drives in under 4 minutes. So if you're Mount Dora, I keep saying this, again, I hope I'm wrong, but it just feels like Mount Dora needs to get one more score for them to breathe. Yeah. And even then, you still can't breathe because the game's not over.
Yeah, no, you're exactly right. Certainly capable, and as we've sat here, I've watched Coach Colby Tackett as he has been speaking to the officials there about that. And sometimes a call like this and a timeout in that situation, and those kids see their coach fired up about something and having their back on a situation. At the same token, it wouldn't surprise me if Mountain Dora just doesn't come out and just foot on the throttle and come out of here 2 more scores.
Well, they've had it on the rushing attack on this drive. They just have they've gotten called for holding.
Yeah.
So I like the call here. It looks like they're going to have Klein at the quarterback position here.
He'll take the snap, running to the near side. Great read by the Falcon defense. That is Ivan Tulipov. He has had 2 great plays here in the second half, and particularly this afternoon. That one, none bigger.
Yeah, you had Seth Roach wide right, only 1 receiver out wide, so you kind of figured it was going to be a run. But yeah, big defensive stand there for St. Stephen's.
If they come back and somehow manage to pull off a victory here, it's going to come back to that defensive play right there.
And again, as I've said about Mount Dora, how are you going to respond? Because you've been in these positions where your back's against the wall and you have to overcome some adversity. What are you going to do?
Evan Brown, patient here. Just under 8 to play. He's going to keep it himself. Breaks a would-be tackler, spins for the first down, spins again in midfield, and goes down wisely inside Bulldog territory at the 49. What an individual effort there by the quarterback, Evan Brown. And a big missed tackle by Connor Calfee, who we've talked about all night. Also, Michael Napoli was in there as well. Guys that have been stalwarts in that interior middle defense tonight. But that time, just individually, Evan Brown said, I have to do something here.
100%.
Quick one, far side. Nice play, catch made. Ridden out of bounds. Nice gain on first down of 8.
Kept it in bounds, so the clock will continue to run. But
yes.
But yeah, St. Stephen's there. It's kind of one of those where you have to get into go mode now because you're running out of time.
Yeah.
And that the only score you have is on a pick 6, about a 65-yard pick 6 in that first half. You got to go if you want any sort of shot here.
Historically in this football game, as we see another huge tackle there by Connor Calfee. He's made his case all night for player of the game as well. But this is the part of the field where we've seen historically in this football game these drives for the Falcons stall.
And the helmet of Xavier Dalton, number 10, came off, so he will have to be out for this 3rd and short here. That's going to be a big play.
Julian Brown with a handoff, and he's going to be met in the backfield. His progress is stopped. Again, give credit to that defensive line and that linebacking core that time led by Michael Napoli.
Patrick Jackson came in for that one play to replace Xavier Dalton, and that was a huge loss. It's now, instead of 4th and 1, it's 4th and 5.
Let's see what the Falcons can do here to keep this drive alive, and it's going to be thrown behind his intended target, Caleb Bosick, and they just simply have not been on the same page in this game here tonight or today.
Well, that's the thing. I keep talking about Mount Dora. You know, you get in these positions. You know, you had the blocked field goal, the pick 6, turnover on downs, whatever it is. I mean, they have not blinked.
Yeah.
And, you know, even in a position where one of your best defensive ends lost his helmet and had to step out of play, they forced him into a negative yardage. And, I mean, just all huge credit to the coaching staff at Mount Dora and this whole unit. I mean, they have played hard. They have done everything that they needed to do. And it's funny, we talked to Colby Tackett. He said he used to coach here he left and went to Tennessee for 3 years, and he said, man, it's crazy. I leave for 3 years, they go to the state 3 years in a row, and now I'm back again. So it's funny that, you know, he was here for so many years. He comes back, and, you know, and still a lot of game left. It's 5:47, still a lot of game left. But if they can finish this game, they'll win themselves a state title.
Yeah, he's done an excellent job, and obviously he came into a situation not only familiar with the program and the school and their mission, but also came into a very experienced group of young men who have been here before. Here's a handoff. Betances going top of the screen. Gets to the 45. They're going to spot him at about the 46. Bring up second and about 7.
Yeah, I like the call. Just do a run, try and bleed some clock here, and you know you've got. I mean, St. Stephen's has all 3 of their timeouts left, and they're going to have to start thinking about calling timeouts soon. So just again, do what got you into the position you're in, and just don't do anything too crazy, especially now.
Klein will stand to the left of Nathan Roach. Handoff goes to Betances, and he's clear and free. Can he be ran down? Yes, but not before he gets inside the 20 to the 15. Actually, they're going to spot him at the 18-yard line. What a play. Give credit to Caleb Bosick. He was not going to allow that touchdown. He was on his horse and in pursuit, and he was able to bring down Betances short of the goal line at the 18-yard line.
And as I said before, Betances came into this game with only 83 rushing yards on the year, and that was at least 40 yards right there. And again, these players embracing their role beautifully, and that's a huge play because that extends it to now you're in the red zone.
Sure. Yeah, listen, it might be one of those situations that, you know, Betances was an option that nobody really game planned for because they saw something. Obviously, he has stepped in the second half and been a difference maker. Roach with the keeper this time. He falls forward, gain of about 2. That'll bring up second and 8. Clock continues to roll as we approach 4 minutes to play here in this 5A championship game.
Another big thing with that run is there was no penalty flag, as we saw probably 3 big plays negated by penalty for Mount Dora. And that time, when you need it the most to get it within the red zone to kill some more clock, no flags. And so credit to that offensive line getting disciplined and not holding for too long.
Clock comes all the way down to 3.5 to play as Mount Dora Christian get to the line of scrimmage. And a whistle, timeout, Mount Dora Christian. Coach Tackett didn't like something he saw there. Big score from college football from University of Central Florida. They currently lead Oklahoma State 17-0. First half score, that's a big one.
Yeah, they've had a little bit of trouble in the Big 12 this year. They had it against Baylor and unfortunately lost 36-35, but that'd be a huge win for them. Oklahoma State's been an established roster for a long time, and I believe, if I read the score clock correctly, they are in the top 17, I believe. So
10.
Yeah, there you go, top 10.
Number 10.
You know, that's as the PA announcer just said it. So, but no, that's a UCF. I mean, it's always growing pains when you change divisions like that. They were in the American division for a long time. Obviously, for those that were alive then, you remember the runs of 16 through about 2019 where they were beating anyone and everyone. And it's nice to see them get some good experience here in their first year in the Big 12.
Yeah, I like the move. I like the direction that UCF's going. Here's a handoff up the middle. Carr with it. Fights his way forward. Can he get in? Nope. Stopped a yard short of the goal line. First and goal, Bulldogs, with 3:15 to play here in the ball game.
It's almost a blessing in disguise to get tackled around the 1 because you can start killing some more clock here.
Sure.
Should you choose to. But
it will be interesting to see. I don't doubt that they're going to try to kill a little clock.
His car was on the field for a little bit. The athletic training staff had to come talk to him a little bit, but he gets up and will walk off under his own power. But as we've seen before, he will have to come off for at least one play. But yeah, and re-entering the field is Connor Calfee. We've seen him mostly on defense and punting, but listen,
I like it.
Yeah. Mount Dora's got a couple Swiss Army knives on their team, and that's one of them right there.
Yep. He'll stand next to another. That's number 5, Taylor Klein. Klein with the direct snap. He's going to follow Calfee, and he's going to walk in unabated for the score. Mount Dora Christian now extends their lead to 27-7. None bigger than that one to give them that insurance touchdown that we've talked the majority of the game about.
It's crazy because that's the first score since the second quarter for either team. And, get credit to Mount Dora's defense to bail their team out so many times here in this second half and in that first half. But, yeah, this touchdown here is huge for Mount Dora, especially now that there's under 3 left here in this fourth quarter.
Schaefer steps on for another PAT attempt. Carr with the hold. Kick is up and kick is through. Our score, Bulldogs of Mount Dora Christian 28, Falcons of St. Stephen's Episcopal 7, with 2 minutes and 45 seconds to play in this 5A championship game for the Sunshine State Athletic Association. We'll take a brief audio pause and come back here in just a couple of moments. Quick Cut Sports Network. And we'll get back in once again to the Quick Cut Sports Network. Coming to you live from Bryant Stadium here in Lakeland. This 5A state championship contest. Mount Dora Christian, the Bulldogs in control 28-7. As Klein trots in from about 4 or 5 yards out. And here we see Schaefer with another little short pooch kick, fielded cleanly by Jed MacArthur. BA alongside Conrad Vulture. We appreciate you tuning in here on the Quick Cut YouTube channel, along with our executive producer Mark Nusser and executive camera operator Joey Plegka. We'll have another game for you coming up at 7 p.m. It'll be the Masters Academy taking on Westminster Academy. Another should be, at least on paper, outstanding football game.
Yeah, you've got a team in Westminster that hasn't won a state title since 1990, and you've got the Masters Academy who last won it in 2019. So, again, as we said in this game, on paper, the score that you see now is not what we expected at all, but it's one of those things, stranger things have happened. And you can't always assume either.
Evan Brown, this one on target to Julian Brown across the middle. That'll be good for pretty close to first down yardage. It will move the chains. And that was a pass that we've seen multiple occasions this afternoon that just hasn't been on target. And when it is on target, you see how well it works. Those throws have been there.
Yeah, no shortage of opportunities to have some good catches. But as you said, they've just been off target or off kilter of throws.
Brown looking again. This time he's going to be forced out of the pocket. Flags come in the backfield as Xavier Dalton was held as he was making his way closer and closer to Evan Brown.
Just heard the PA announcer say, looks like we got some laundry on the field, and we've got 2 flags down. But, yeah, I was staring right at it, and they pulled him from that under part of that of those pads by the front of the jersey, and it was kind of one of those things where if they didn't call it, it'd be a little bit surprising.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things when you've got a guy like Xavier Dalton and you've had to block him. I mean, he's 6'4", 205 coming off that edge. I can imagine he's a menace to try and block if you're an offensive tackle, and it's just trying to buy some more time for your quarterback and just held on just a little bit too long.
Yeah, he's Xavier Dalton, a Saturday player, that's for sure. Several of them out in the field right now. Evan Brown in the gun. Looks right, throws right, and that's just a great individual tackle by one of the players of the game nominee, Michael Napoli.
Number 9, Michael Napoli on the tackle.
And you can start feeling it from that Mount Dora side. They can feel that championship coming, but again, still got to play till the end of the game. But their defense still playing hard here as the waning seconds are coming through here in this 5A championship game.
2 receivers each way as Brown's pass is batted down. Great defensive play this time. It's Brian Schutte.
Another senior on this roster trying to get a championship before he graduates.
You know, listen, it's very rarely that you see a defensive performance where you literally almost every player that's played on the defensive side of the football this afternoon for Mount Dora Christian has had an impact in this football game.
Minute 35 remains in the game.
100%. I mean,
there's not a player we haven't called tonight.
No, 100% not.
That's amazing.
They're embracing their role beautifully, and you see that more often than not.
Look at that pressure by Xavier Dalton. Ladies and gentlemen, that is a major athlete right there coming at you. 6'4", 220.
Jordan Graves also in on the tackle, another senior.
Yeah.
One of, if I just counted it up right now, one of about 12 seniors on this Mount Dora roster trying to go out with a championship win to their name after 3 that were falling short the last 3 seasons. And wow.
Yeah.
What a game on tape we've seen today.
Trips to the near side. Evan Brown forced again. Pressure by Dalton, and he is going to be forced down to the ground at the 30-yard line.
Brought to the ground by Brian Schutte. Ball turns over to Mount Dora.
So the ball on 4th down goes back to the Bulldogs of Mount Dora Christian with 44 seconds to go. And Conrad, it's been a very entertaining game in the way that it wasn't quite what we expected, but maybe 4 times a charm for the Mount Dora Christian Bulldogs, because this time they're going to go home with the ring.
100%. And I think, it's hard enough to get to a championship game, but to get to it now 4 straight years and to have nothing to show for it, that is very, very – that's a hard pill to swallow.
Sure.
But to finally break through and to get that coveted ring, trophy, whatever you want to call it, I mean, it's huge, especially for this program and for the school as well. And, I mean, they've got a couple district titles back in 2016, 2018. But, I mean, so far it's only been runner-up. And it's just nice to see the school that has been here but just didn't go, that has gone away with a runner-up trophy, finally take home that championship trophy. And huge congratulations to Kobe Tackett. Great guy to talk to before this broadcast. And, as he said before, they played those harder teams throughout the season because they don't have the luxury of having those teams. I mean, they played Mount Dora High School, PK Young, Tavares, the Masters Academy, Melbourne Central Catholic. And, it's 5 losses on the year, but the records don't look very sexy. But when you're hoisting a trophy and you just won 28-7 against arguably one of the best teams in the SSAA, at the end of the day, I'd rather have a 6-5 record walking away with a trophy than the other way around.
Absolutely. Hats off to the Bulldogs of Mount Dora Christian, 5A state champions for the Sunshine State Athletic Association. That'll do it for this game. We'll be back with you here in just a couple of hours to do it all again. Conrad, it was awesome to work with you. Can't wait to do it again here in just a little bit.
You too, BA, and it's, just great quality football we've seen, and can't wait to see the matchup tonight between the Masters Academy and Westminster Academy. And it's one of those things you can never assume. You can't just say, oh well, it's going to be this way because of what paper says. That's why they play the game, and for stuff like this. And again, huge congratulations to Mount Dora Christian Academy. They'll finish 6-5 on the season, and got to give the hats off to St. Stephen's Episcopal. They will finish 8-3 on the season. Again, winners of state last year. They beat Legacy Charter 47-7, and funny enough, they finished 6-5 last year. So Mount Dora switching it around. They went 7-4 last year. Again, lost to Lake Highland Prep 44-6, but they can forget about those last 3 seasons because it's a new season and a new piece of real estate they can take home. And I mean, you see the players hugging their coach, and I mean, and for those 12 seniors that played their last game in high school, congratulations to them, and what a way to finally get the job done here in the 2023 SSAA 5A Championship, Mr. BA.
Once again, congratulations to both of these teams. Safe travels to all the fans. We appreciate you tuning in here on the Quick Cut Sports Network. For Conrad, Joey, Mark, I'm BA. We'll see you here in a couple hours. Don't go anywhere. That second game is going to be something.